Good evening, everyone. Welcome to On Deck here on FTSN. I'm Russ Morgan, ready to talk some baseball. We got some, we got 5 games left until playoff. A lot of good races going on right now. Obviously, the wild card on both sides of the AL and the NL is, it's unbelievable. Depending who can get in. Obviously, there's 4 teams on each side who could secure those 3 spots. So the baseball's it's clicking on all cylinders right now. October right around the corner. Uh, watching was it the baseball tonight? MLB Squeeze play, just going around all the playoff games right now. My Yankees down 3-0, pretty pissed because they put Cortez on the 15-day DL, so put Stroman back in the rotation. I'm really hoping. I'm going to talk later about the Yankees, but we had last week we had some really big news. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani's the first ever 50 for 50 player in MLB history. 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. What is he at right now? Right now he's 50. Right now he's at 53 home runs. Let's see what stolen bases. Stolen bases, he's at 53 and 55 with about 5 games remaining. And it's just to see what this guy does every day at the plate. Obviously, put up against the Marlins in Miami. He goes 6 for 6 with 10 RBIs and 3 home runs. Was insane. And I kind of give credit. I'm gonna try to keep it PG as much. I try to keep the swearing to a minimum. But when my Miami Marlins manager, he already got the 2 home runs to make it 49, and he just says, you hear Schumacher say, basically, fuck that, we're not walking them, we're gonna pitch to him. I think that's just a total class act from Skip Schumacher, letting him get that 50 home run mark. But if this is not the greatest offensive season we've ever seen, it is definitely in the top 5 greatest offseason. I think it's right up there. There's some pretty great performances we've seen, but it's definitely top 5. This is something that's never been seen. It's insane. Obviously, top, Cal Ripken, 2,632 consecutive games. You got 50 Shohei. You could say Babe Ruth in 27 hitting 60 home runs, but that's in 1927. Ricky Henderson, 130 stolen bases. That's insane in 1982. Nolan Ryan, 7 career no-hitters. You don't see too many no-hitters nowadays, but we're lucky if we maybe see one a year. This is right up there with. Cal Ripken going 2,632 consecutive games played. I don't know. That's never going to be beat, especially in the day and age we live in. That's probably insane. But this is the best offensive performance we've seen ever, and this guy's doing it coming off Tommy John surgery. So it is insane what he's doing. And you go 10 RBIs, 6 for 6, 3 home runs. And what even Ohtani said, what's the most stolen bases he's got in years past, and it was like 20. So he's doubling that number. What he's at 55 this year, so he's at 35 more than he got. Guy's been 301, 53 home runs, 123 RBIs, a 384 on base percentage, and 640 slugging. I'm excited to. I dislike the Dodgers. I'm a Yankee fan. I grew up in California, but my dad's from Yonkers, Bronxville, New York. So you could always go with you go with your team, your hometown team, or you go with your family's team. And I was always a family guy. I stuck. I grew up watching baseball, watching the Yankees with my dad. I never really cared for the Dodgers. Obviously, I got being a diehard New York Jets fan from my dad, which which a lot of pain and suffering too. So thank God the Yankees were good when I was a kid. But I got that. But hey, don't get me like, people say being a Jets fan, oh, I feel sorry for you. I'd love it every minute of it. I'd rather be a Jets fan than a Giants fan all day. But I mean, Otani, it's nuts, and to see what this, I'm excited to see what this Dodger team does in the playoffs because this is one of the best lineups I've seen in a long time. It's insane with Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, all those guys. We'll talk a little later. Judge right now he's at 56 home runs, homered 3 straight games. So he homered Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. Saturday, Sunday against the A's, where they swept the A's, and last night they lost 5-3 to the Orioles, so they're up 5 right now. But I mean, he's having a hell of a season, better than his MVP season in what 20 couple of years ago, 22, if I stand corrected, 22. If anybody knows the correct year, I think it was 22. Correct me. I'm a baseball player, so if I throw out 10 stuff and I get 3 of them right, I'm happy because that means I'm winning in baseball. But I mean, he's having a better year. I mean, the better year than that MVP year, batting 323, 139 RBIs, 459 on base percentage. That's nuts. Almost on base half the time of the game. 699 slugging. Give him the MVP. Bobby Witt. I mean, this guy defensively you don't even have to bring up the offensive numbers. Defensively, he's one of the best shortstops in the game. I mean, he's a slick fielding shortstop, and what, he's 24, 25, just cashed in nice with that big offseason contract. And, Witt doing it on the offensive side, batting 355, 32 home runs, 108 RBIs. What's his on base? On base percentage. I'm sorry, yeah, but I mean, it's Witt. If Judge wasn't having such a great year in the AL, Witt would probably win that MVP. But Judge is having a great year. But you can't really slight Bobby Witt on the amazing year he's had. The other one, we got Paul Skeens, who's making a massive impact in Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh's obviously out of the playoff race. I mean, Skeens. I mean, this guy's doing it as a guy who was drafted last year, so he was in the big leagues less than a year after being drafted, and he's making a massive impact and just not blinking at all against that MLB pitching. I mean, he's 11-3. He leads the team with 167 strikeouts, and he's pitched half the games. He came up June, if I'm correct. So I mean, that's insane. A 1.99 ERA, 96 WHIP. I mean, Paul Skeens, probably rookie of the year. I root for Paul Skeens everywhere I go. I got to see him play in high school. Got to scout him a little bit when I was in high school, and he came when I was scouting. He came to our show, MLB draft showcase, and he was there. And he's going into a senior year, so it's a day after the draft, or after the final, June 6th was. I remember the day. It was at Hart Park in Orange County, California, home of the Chapman Panthers Division III team. He came, and the guy's a mammoth, and this is a 17-year-old. He's 6'4". I don't even know how much he weighs, but just talking to him, you didn't feel like you were talking to a high school senior. You're talking to a man, and it was an easy conversation. He knew how to, he'd look you in the eye, he'd respond. There was no blank. So I root for that guy. And obviously, hearing his story, wanting to go to Air Force to serve our country, going to LSU because he realizes he could be a top 3 pick, ended up being number 1 overall, but has come out and said, hey, I want to serve my country. So after I retire, I'm going to go serve, is what I've been hearing. That's pretty amazing. I mean, we're getting some great pitching performances on both sides too. After Skeens, obviously, you got AL, NL guys who are going to be the Cy Young. Chris Sale is having a massive comeback season, 18-3, 2.38 ERA. I mean, this guy could be the Cy Young and the comeback player of the year after, He had a great, was it 18 with the Red Sox when they won the World Series. Got the big contract with the Red Sox, couldn't really stay healthy. Now he's 18 and 3, 2.3 ERA, the the best pitcher in the NL. Then you got Tarek Skubal uh, with the Tigers, who's 18 and 4 with the 2.39 ERA. I mean, this guy's really jumped off, and as we're seeing right now, given the Tigers, who are now right in the wild card hunt and might get that final wild card spot, he's putting them on the map, and that's a really young team. But I'm ready to jump in. Obviously, 5 games left. Let's jump into some NL AL previews. So I'm gonna kick it off with the NL wild card here. Right now, the NL wild card stands is the Padres got the top spot already clinched. We got the Mets in the second, tied. Mets and Arizona are tied, and then we got the Braves, who are a half a game back of everybody. They still got 2 games with the Mets, but those 2 games with the Mets have been postponed because of hurricane. I think it's what they're calling. Was it Helena? I don't know. We're just in a tropical storm here in Sarasota, Florida. So I think it's Helena. So those games got postponed, and that was just rain. But Atlanta's supposed to be getting hit, but they're half a game back. Obviously, I think it kind of fell off. Obviously, I mean, you lose Strider for the year, you lose Acuna for the year. Those are big losses. I thought the Braves were going to win the NL East, but you're still getting 2. You had 2 solid frontline guys with Chris Sale, who's won a World Series, and Max Fried, who's having a little down year, but he does have that World Series pedigree, that October pedigree. So it's a solid 1-2. My thing with them, who's going to be that number 3rd guy? Is it going to be the veteran Charlie Morton, or is it going to be Lopez? Offensively, I mean, it's kind of been a down year. Obviously, Austin Riley's still not back. That's a big loss. Ozzie Albies batting .254. I mean, you got Michael Harris, you got Kelenic out there. Who's gonna pick up the offensive numbers besides Marcell Ozuna, who's batting .310 with 39 home runs, 102 RBIs. But he's the only guy batting above 300 right now in that whole lineup. So, I mean, we'll see if they can make up the games, get that 3rd spot. Obviously, you got 2 games against the Mets. That'll be a doubleheader on the 30th, so that's Monday. Hopefully. And then they got 3 against the Royals. So then we got right now in the 3rd slot, I think they're tied with the Mets. Yeah. So right now, half a game back. So Atlanta's half a game back of the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are in that 3rd slot right now, 87 and 71, half a game back of the Mets. Or a full game. We're going loss column. I mean, actually, hey, I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at it now, and the Braves, they got them half a game back in the loss column, but they've got that 3rd wild card spot. I just, that's my bad, because I mean they got 71. They both have 71 losses in the loss column. Loss column's all that matters. So I mean they're right now tied. Even that half game, they just got to pick up that game, and obviously you got it rained out the next 2 days, so that will be a makeup. So I mean it'll all play, but right now, as the standings are, as they got the standings going, they got Arizona half game up. That'll be made up. Arizona. I mean, it's kind of been a down year after that that surprising World Series appearance last year, where they ended up losing to the Texas Rangers, who were hell of a down year for a team coming off a World Series of what the Rangers did. What are the Rangers right now? 74 and 83, coming off a World Series, so that's way down. But my thing with Diamondbacks is, like, who are they going to get it from? You got Marte, who's probably going to be a first team All MLB guy at second base there, and obviously he started the All-Star game. He's batting .295, 35 home runs. I mean, but who else is going to get it? Obviously, Gurriel's down. Corbin Carroll, who I absolutely love Corbin Carroll, but he's having a down year. Uh, Pitching wise, I don't know. With the pitching wise, obviously you got Zach Gallen, who was a big guy last year for. Why did I hit? I hit the Braves. Zach Allen was a big guy for that Diamondbacks team last year that made that surprising World Series appearance. But I mean, what 13-6. So that's a solid number one. But who else are you going to get it from? Brad was I think Bradiff. I don't know how to say his last name perfectly. Who's 10-10, and he's got a high ERA at 4.80. Is it going to be Nelson? What is Nelson's for? Ryan Nelson, who's he's got 25, 10-6, or is it going to be Jordan Montgomery? My thing is, anybody want to comment on there? Is the struggle Jordan Montgomery has, who's a big part of that Rangers starting rotation last year of helping them win that World Series, that massive acquisition? Is it he's struggling so much because he didn't have a full slate of spring training, especially these pitchers. Like, I go back to the 2020 COVID year where they played 60 games, and you're seeing some of these great pitchers, Garrett Cole really struggling. You're seeing some of these great pitchers struggling. These pitchers are, creatures of habit. Is the reason he's 6-8? Is it because he didn't have that time to get acclimated, to get it ramped up, and now he's trying to do it too late? And we kind of see it with Blake Snell too. But 87-71. We'll see who gets that final wild card spot. Mets right now. If you told me the Mets were going to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year after how much we saw from the Mets. Mets people writing off the Mets right off the bat, really, really, really slow start. I'm surprised, but I mean, the Mets. I have one of my dad's. My dad's a musician. One of the guys who plays music with, is a massive Mets fan. So when I was back in California, we're talking baseball. I usually talk basketball with him, but he's a baseball nut, so we're talking baseball. And this is a Mets guy. He watches every single game, and he goes, oh, "Yeah, Mets looking good. I don't know about their pitching." He goes, best team in the MLB since July 3rd. So it's just going on. These Mets fans are nuts. They watch every game. They watch every pitch. They're following everything. I mean, but you lose Francisco Lindor, who's obviously, was another guy having a big year. And, he's out. I don't know when he comes back. You bring up Luis Angel Acuna, Ronald Acuna's younger brother. I mean, 32 at bats. He's batting 375. What are you going to get from him in October? I don't know. Obviously, you got some big guys. You got Brandon Nimmo. You got Harrison Bader. I think Jeff McNeil's out for them too. Is done. So that's a big loss for them too. The pitching for me, for the Mets, obviously you got Sean Manaea, 12-5. That he's looking solid. 3.29 ERA. You got Luis Severino, 11-7. I don't know about Sevy. I think he can get it done. I think this, I just don't know about Sevy. I saw a lot of Luis Severino with the Yankees. I'm rooting for him. He's having a nice little bounce back. And then you got Jose Quintana. Obviously, you lose one of the Japanese pitchers they have. He was down for the year. Obviously, that's a decent 1, 2, 3. We'll see if the Mets can hold on. Obviously, I think they'll get that second wild card. But the end of the year is going to be. We still got 3 against the Brewers. You got 2 against the Braves. Could decide them getting that second wild card spot, or getting bounced if you get swept. So it sucks that they had to postpone that game, but I love it because that means that last day, Monday, is going to be, we're going to have decision time. So it's beautiful. We got the Padres in that first wild card spot right now. Massive trade deadline acquisition, Luis Arraez. Oh, if there's anyone I won't throw the comparison out because I think I think they suck. That people, especially they do it to young scouts. Scouts do it to young players all the time. Uh, if there's anyone close to Tony Gwynn, that's Luis Ariz. Obviously, guys, I mean, this guy's a hit king. Bent 320. I mean, this guy finds a way to get on, and he's not a power guy. He works. I love Luis Ariz. As always, one of the guy in the Yankees. You got Manny Machado, one of the best third basemen in the MLB, 29 home runs. You got Profar, all-star, solid out there. You got Tatis. I mean, you got Cronenworth, Jackson Merrill's who could be the rookie of the year. He's batting 292, and this was the guy. You know, not a lot of people knew who he was. You know, right off the bat. I mean, they're pitching. I think they're pitching a little concern. Obviously, you got the big offseason acquisition from Dylan Cease, who's 14-11. You got the other, acquisition who was in that Soto trade, Michael King, who's 13-9. They got a big game yesterday against the Dodgers. I don't know where they go, but after that, obviously Musgrove's been hurt, Darvish been hurt, probably not coming back for the playoffs. So I don't know where they go. You got 2 against the Dodgers. You got 3 against the Diamondbacks. So those are obviously, the Padres already clinched, but those are big seeding games wise. So that's great. We obviously, I mean, the third going to be the third seed in the NL right now will be the Milwaukee Brewers, who won the NL Central. Scrappy. This team is scrappy. I wrote this team off right off the bat, and I'll take the L on that. Right when they traded Corbin Burns, I wrote them off. I'll take the L big time. I lost on that one because this team is scrappy. They find a way to win. They're not flashy. They don't have any really big name players, but they're just finding a way to get it done. Obviously, you got William Contreras, who's batting 283. You got Willie Adames, who's this guy kind of rode off a little bit. Obviously, he was shipped away from Tampa Bay when they had Wander Franco was coming up, so he's kind of shipped away. Said you lost your spot, and he's having a hell of a year. Ben, he's got 32 home runs, 111 RBIs. Their pitching's a big question mark. I mean, you got Freddie Peralta, who's been solid, but he's been solid in the past, not having as great a year. But that's probably your guy, your number one going in. Let's see Peralta's full stats. Peralta 11-8, 3.69 ERA, 1.23 WHIP. You got Connor Ray, who's 12-5. I mean, I wouldn't even said that, but he's 12-5. But who's that third guy? Is it Myers, who's 8-6? Is it Frankie Montas, who was with the Reds starting the year? I don't know. But I mean, I mentioned it last week. This Brewers team kind of embodies the Midwest. They're scrappy. They find a way to get a win. And I mean, even though they don't have any big name guys, I think this is a team who can make a little noise. Fighting. So right now we got the Phillies and Dodgers. Obviously, Phillies and Dodgers both. Phillies are actually a game back. The Dodgers in the loss column, game back. But I mean, this is another dangerous. We got Phillies Dodgers. This is 2 of the dangerous lineups in baseball. Obviously, you got Trey Turner, you got Bryce Harper, the phenom since he was came up when he was 19. I mean, Trey Turner's batting 294. You got Kyle Schwarber, one of the most dangerous leadoff hitters in baseball, 38 home runs, 102 RBIs. You got Alex Baum, who's a wall at third base. I mean, the guy feels it clean and it's got a cannon. You got to they have a nice I mean, offensively is one thing. I like their middle with Bryson Stott and Trey Turner. That's a solid middle. And I mean, it just comes to their pitching staff. Their pitching staff is, you got the best 1-2 and probably the best 1-2 in baseball with Aaron Nola, 13-8, a little down, and then you got Zach Wheeler. Nola's, he's a 3.52 ERA, 1.18 WHIP, And then you got Wheeler 16-7, 2.56 ERA. His WHIP is 0.96. So I mean, that's probably the best one too. Who's the next guy? Is it going to be Sanchez? Is it going to be Ranger Suarez? Tyan Walker? I don't know. Philly's dangerous team. I'm really my guy. I try not to make predictions. I think the best thing for baseball would be a Phillies Dodgers NLCS. I think that would be bring the most ratings into the game. But you never know with baseball. I mean, I could see any of these teams making some noises because last year I would have never guessed it would have been Rangers Diamondbacks. So I don't know. And then you got the best team in baseball right now, the Los Angeles Dodgers. What can you not say about this team? Obviously, it's a super team type of thing. I mean, you got Betts, who's kind of being overshadowed by Shohei this year, but and he's been hurt a lot. Missed a lot of games. But Betts is one of the best players in baseball. I love Mookie Betts. I love watching him play. I love him, and this guy's just an old school player. He does it right. So we shall see that. I mean, obviously Shohei with the 50-50. You got Freddie Freeman, who this guy just is class all the way and gets it done. You got Will Smith behind the plate. Gavin Lux, and Teoscar Hernandez, who's that was under the radar signing and is phenomenal. My thing with the Dodgers is their pitching. Their pitching is very, it's a little suspect for in my opinion. Their pitching, is a little hit and miss. Obviously, this year, you lose Glass now. He's not coming back. You have Yamamoto. Yamamoto has been solid. He's 6-2 and just started coming back. But this guy's never pitched in October. He's never pitched. Obviously, he's pitched big games in Japan, but pitching in the States is a whole different ball game. So we'll see what he does in October. But Yamamoto will be that top guy. Who else are you going to get it from? Kershaw obviously had that toe, and he's had his issues in the playoffs. So we all see he's had a lot of issues in the playoffs. Buehler coming back from injury has been up and down all year, so you don't know what you're going to get from him. Gavin Stone the same way, Bobby Miller the same way. So I don't know. I think they're, as much as the Dodgers have so much going on and that offense is amazing, they got a big question mark on the pitching side. They got a good bullpen. You get that pickup from Michael Kopech from the White Sox was solid. But I think that pitching is a big question mark, and we'll see what Dave Roberts can do because, in my opinion, Dave Roberts made some questionable calls in the playoffs. But I really don't know who's gonna get out in the NL and be in that NLCS. Is it Dodgers or get to the World Series? Dodgers, Phillies. I think baseball wants Dodgers, Phillies because that will bring the most eyes to baseball. That's the most ratings. That's Shohei. Just having Shohei in the NLCS or Shohei in the World Series, that's going to bring massive ratings because he's got a massive following from the United States and all of Asia. They love that guy. Right now, Minnesota 2 back. Minnesota kind of fell off there. Minnesota kind of had it good. They fell off. With 5 games remaining for the Twins, playing the Marlins right now, but then they got 3 against the Orioles to finish the year, so that'll be pretty tough. Detroit, right now they're tied with the Royals, both 83 and 74. I'd be super happy to see Detroit get in. I think this is kind of great for baseball. It's another thing unbelievable because they're so young. If I didn't look at the roster, I might be able to name 3-4 guys on the offense. Riley Green, Torkelson. I can't name much more off the top of my head without looking at it. But I'd be happy because you're gonna have Tarek Skubal as a guy I mentioned, very early on the show, and I've been mentioning a lot. This guy's a Cy Young guy. He's 18-4. 18-4, so I'd love to see him in there. He should win the Cy Young. They just called up Jackson Jobe, who's their top prospect, trying to hold that one of those wild card spots down. Uh, Offensively, I don't know. I mean, Torkelson was a high draft pick, number one overall at Arizona State. But I mean, I don't know where they get it offensively. I think there's scrappy team. Riley Green's at 262, another high draft pick. I mean, it is a scrappy team. Just Detroit scrappy, find a way to get in. And even their manager mentioned it. You know, he's like, "Hey, we're a young team. We're not going to be there this year, I don't think." But hey, I think they're getting that wild card spot. What does Detroit have remaining? I mean, they got the Rays. They're beating the Rays right now. Rays tomorrow, and then the White Sox. So I think they're pretty good. Kansas City right now, they're both tied for that second wild card spot. Right, they're up 1-0 right now, which was beat the Royals 1-0 yesterday, up 1-0 because they were on a 7-game skid. So I mean, they lost a lot of ground. Obviously, you got the Nationals, you finish up with the Braves on the last three against the Braves. So it'll be a tough 3 games. I mean, that's another team I love to see in there. I mean, you got Bobby Witt, who's just having a phenomenal year. You got Salvador Perez, who's a guy I just love watching because the passion he has for baseball. At an elder age, too, this guy still finds a way, just the passion he has for the game. Perez batting 271, but I mean, defensively is where he gets it done. You get 271 from behind the plate, you're winning. You want that. Obviously, we saw that with the Astros. I mean, you saw that with the Astros so many years winning the World Series and being competitive. Martin Maldonado was their catcher. He barely did anything on the offensive side. But what he did to control that pitching staff and control their running game kept him in the lineup the whole time. So, I mean, I view Salvador Perez that way, and he's batting 271. So that's a huge win. But I mean, I think I'd be really happy being a pure baseball fan to have the Tigers and the Royals in there. I mean, it's a two great young teams going at it. We got the Orioles, who they've clinched their playoff spot. Beat the Yankees yesterday, 87-70. They've clinched it. Obviously, got one more playing tonight. They're up 3-1 against the Yankees. Then they end up against the Twins. I mean, but this is a team, even though they're kind of fell off 5 games back. That offense is nuts. That offense that is one of the better lineups in baseball. Obviously, you got Gunnar Henderson batting 282. Anthony Santander, 44 home runs. Royals just scored 2. Santander with 44, so that's going to get it done. I mean, you got Adley Rutschman, who finds a way to do it from both sides, and what he does behind the plate is amazing. I mean, you got the rookie Colton Cowsers, who's another solid guy, but Cowsers batting 244. Cedric Mullins, we'll see if Westerberg's coming back. Arias came back. We'll see. Maybe Jackson Holiday gets a little time in October. I'd love to see that, being this guy's 19, 20. That'd be unbelievable. And on the pitching side, I mean, the pitching side's solid. I mean, obviously you got Corbin Burns, who's their frontline guy, and is going to be a free agent this year, so probably going to cash in pretty big, having a big year. 15 wins, 8 losses, 2.95 ERA, 172 strikeouts. I mean, Grayson Rodriguez is their number 2 guy. I mean, Grayson Rodriguez is solid. Started off strong. He's 13-4. Obviously, he's hurt right now, so hopefully he comes back for them. You had Drew Kramer had another solid start the other day, but who's that? When Rodriguez comes back, who's it going to be after that? But I can see them making some noise in the playoffs, even from that wild card spot. This is probably, I mean, knock on wood, because I really hope I'm wrong. And it looks like I'm wrong, as I picked, my prediction was the Orioles to win the AL East. I knock on wood. I really hope they don't. But I think this is probably one of the best teams in the AL. So I mean, as of now, they got that first wild card spot, that number 4 seed. Uh, Number 3 seeds, the Houston Astros. I know everybody moans and groans when they hear that one, uh, because everybody hates the Astros. But I mean, this team, what they're down 10 games in June, cut it to 5, all of a sudden up 4. So it just finds a way to get it done. And they have a lot of veteran guys out there. I mean, you got Jose Altuve, Mr. Consistent, always finds a way to get it done. He's batting 293, a 349 on base percentage. You got Alex Bregman, he'll probably cash in this year too. A big off-season guy, and was obviously, he was a MVP runner-up a couple years ago. And I mean, you got Kyle Tucker, who's a Golden Glove guy. You got Jeremy Pena, who's World Series MVP, and then you got Yordan Alvarez at in the outfield spot. I mean, that guy just scares the living daylight out of me every time he comes up. And dang it, Orioles up 4-1. That's beautiful. Gunnar Henderson 3 for 3 so far. But I mean, Alvarez just scares me every time, and this guy can, with the swing of the bat, he can change the game. 308, 35 home runs. Obviously, I don't know where they get it on the pitching side. The pitching side for the Astros is a massive question mark for me. Obviously, you have Valdez. What's his first name? Frankie or Framber Valdez. He's obviously their guy and has been their guy for a long time. 15-7. You got was it Ronel Blanco? 12-6. That's a big question mark. You got Hunter Brown, 11-9 with 30 games started. Obviously, you DFA Justin Verlander, was always a Hall of Famer, one of the better pitchers we've seen. So I don't know where the pitching gets it, but they're locked into that three spot right now, and I mean, they'll end up 3 games against the Cleveland Guardians in that 2 spot. Well, fighting for that 2 spot. The Cleveland right now won the AL Central. They'll get the 1 or 2 spot depending what happens. 91-67. But I mean, this is a team that I picked. I think I picked. I can't remember. Me and Rob Mosley, who used to be my co-host. Shout out, Rob did a great job. He had to step away for a little bit. We picked our division winners. It was so long ago. I'm pretty sure I picked Cleveland. I'm gonna have to go back and look. But it was so long ago, I can't remember. But I mean, this is another team that for me doesn't do it with the flashy guys. They don't have a lot of big name players, and there's no real superstar on that team. I mean, you're doing it with Jose Ramirez, who's been a unbelievable 10-year, not a 10-year, but 10-year player with the Indians, probably very close to 10 years. I mean, Jose Ramirez right now, 275, 37 home runs, 112 RBIs. I think you lock him in that first team, who's really leading this Indians offense. Then you got Stephen Kwan, who's a guy I loved. Got to see Stephen Kwan play at University of Southern California when Oregon State came to town, and that was that amazing team with Nick Madrigal, Adley Rutschman, Stephen Kwan, and their shortstop who got drafted high too. I think he's still in the minors. But Stephen Kwan's a guy I love. And I mean, this guy's 291, 364 on base percentage. .43 RBI. So he definitely got hurt a little bit. 475. But I mean, this is a leadoff hitter. So, the RBI opportunities or there as much. But I mean, my question, and it comes down to whole baseball's about pitching. Who's got the pitching in October to get it done? I don't know if the Indians do it. I don't know if they do have the pitching to get it done. And that's what baseball comes down to. It comes down to your starters. It comes down to your bullpen. I mean, and we haven't seen in the past. I mean, obviously, we had the Rangers win last year. You had the Braves win a couple years ago. You had the Nationals win. Was it 19? So I mean, it comes down to pitching and being hot at the right time. I don't know if they have the pitching. Obviously, you got Blake Lively. Not Blake. Is it Blake? Oh, Ben. Think of the actor. Sorry, Ben Lively. 13-9. You got Tanner Beebe, 12-8. You got Carlos, the journeyman Carlos Carrasco's 3-10. He's 21. Logan Allen, 8-5. I don't know where they get it done. I really don't know. I really don't know with the Indians. But I mean, that's a scrappy team that finds a way to get it on. Moving on to right now, the number one overall seed that could change tonight because we're down 4-1 is the New York Yankees. We got really hot, 5 games up on the Orioles. As of now, they're 5 games down 4-1 right now. Got one more remaining against the Orioles. Let's see, what is our last 3? We got 3 against the Pirates to finish up, but right now down 4-1. Lost last night 5-3. Judge did home run, but I was on last night, so I got my TV going. I got the Yankees game on TBS last night. I'm doing my other podcast, Touchdown in Paradise, here on FTSN, that usually airs on Wednesdays. And I'm watching the Yankee game, and Soto, they're down 4-3, right? They're down 4-2. Soto doubles, brings in runs, so they're down 4-3. Overthrow. Soto takes second. What does Gleyber Torres do? He gets caught in a pickle, in a rundown. In a rundown, they get him out because we don't play pickle in baseball. It's a rundown. They get him out. It would have been second and third for one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball, Aaron Judge, with 2 outs. And Gleyber Torres messed it up again. They end up losing that game. But the magic number is 1, so hopefully they can get one of 2. The next 2 secure that AL East. I really need it. I've been really big on. I'm ripping the Yankees all year. I've been ripping the Yankees all year, and I mean, I don't know how this team wins in October, but I mean they've won 92 games. They've won 92 games, so they're obviously doing something right. But the offensive, you got the best duo in baseball with Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. And Juan Soto it's a problem with Juan Soto this year for a big problem because you can't let Juan Soto walk away and walk across the street to Queens. But the problem is you're going to have to give him, he's the best player on the team. You have to give him whatever he wants. And that's going to be a high number. I don't know if it's a 600. Is it 500? Is it 600? But this guy's right in his prime, 26. So it's obviously having Juan Soto is great, but it's a problem. So I guess it's, as of right now, a good problem because it helps you win number 28. It's an amazing problem. I'll take that all day. But if he doesn't, because in New York, we don't play for pennants. We want World Series, and we haven't done that since 2009. So it's that's what. Now I don't know where they get it from. Where after that 1-2, Jazz Chisholm's been good. You bring up Jason Dominguez, who's picked it up a little bit. Hey, White Sox scored 120. They're 120 right now, so all they need is one loss. But I mean, Chisholm's been solid. You bring up Dominguez, who's I hope you don't put Alex Verdugo in left field ever. Just rock with Dominguez in left field. Gleyber Torres has been good, up and down, up and down. You get Rizzo back. Torres batting 257. you got Volpe, who's solid, Gold Glove guy defensively, 248 offense on the offensive side. Stanton, don't even get me started about Giancarlo Stanton. You're all my Miami Marlins fans out there who are cursing Derek Jeter's name. You should be kissing his boots right now because he got rid of that massive giant contract and shipped him to New York. And all you Marlins fans are screaming at Derek Jeter for that because he got rid of Giancarlo Stanton. You should be thanking him. So I hate this guy. And I watched him yesterday, and he almost hits a 2-run bomb, and it just curves, just a little bit from the foul pole, right? And then what does he do? Slider. He is just flailing. That's 7-1 now. Hi. He's just flailing. So you should be thanking Derek Jeter because I hate you, Carlos Stanton. God, I know he can run into one every once in a while, but he strikes out a lot. And I even watched, it might have been Pedro when Pedro, he's up here and he goes, if Stanton's like this and he flinches back on a pitch, he goes, as a pitcher, he's done. He can't see the ball. He's not seeing it good, so he's done. But, I think Soto and Judge will be unbelievable in the playoffs. They'll find a way to get it done. They find a way to get it done. My thing with the Yankees right now is their pitching staff. Garrett Cole's been up and down, had a couple good starts recently, but it's not the Cy Young Cole. Rondon, who's been good, threw a good start the other day against the A's. It's been back and forth. Clark Schmidt, who's coming back from injuries, had a good start the other day. He gave up 2 runs. Luis Gil, who's a rookie, he's been phenomenal. You got Stroman, who's his splits are bad. He's better on the road than home, but I hope he's not. They had him in the bullpen, which was great, but look what happens. Nestor Cortez now down on the 15-day L, but I'm really hoping what they do is I'm really hoping what they do is go with either a 3 or 4-man rotation. Mine would be Garrett Cole, Rondon, Clark Schmidt, Luis Gil, Stroman in the bullpen. But you really don't need a 4-man rotation or a 5-man rotation in the playoffs. You need a solid 3 guys. We saw it when the Yankees did it when they won in 2009 when you had CC Sabathia, AJ Burnett, Andy Pettitte. So all you really need is a 3-man. So I'd be fine if they, throw Gil in the bullpen and let him get some time because I think, Clark Schmidt's got that cutter down. I think he's a little nasty. But that's what I want. I want Stroman in the bullpen. I think you give him a 2-3 good innings in there. He can give you 2-3 good ones, not have to stretch it out too much. Too bad. We'll see if Nestor Cortez is on that postseason roster. I love Nasty Nestor. If you want a good story to go read, go read about Nestor Cortez. It's great. He finds a way to get it done. I don't know where the Yankees, they're pitching. Their bullpen's terrible. Clay Holmes their bullpen's been better of late. They moved Clay Holmes off the closer spot. But I think it's going to be great. I think if baseball had it the way they wanted it, it would be Yankees in there. Yankees, Dodgers, but Dodgers, Phillies, Yankees, someone else does just be the best ratings. But hey, we're in the thick of things. We got a lot of tight races, and it's great wild card. It's going to come down to the last day, so I'm super excited. Even though I don't really have high hopes for my team, but for baseball in general, I'm super excited. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I want to remind everybody, please like, comment, and subscribe. This is On Deck. I'm Russ Morgan. You guys have a great night.